So just want to kick off, do just a couple of introductions. My name's Nigel Hamlin, and I have my Paul Saxton, my colleague, with me today, who's going to take you through mostly demonstrations. We've only got a couple of slides, and so it's mostly demo of the solution. So we can take about 30 minutes, so we'll keep to time. So Paul, if you could just pop to the next screen, please. Excellent. So a number of you may already know us at eBECS, so there's probably a mixture of customers and non-customers on the call today. So just a quick overview for those of you who don't know us. We've been in business for over 15 years. We have global presence. We've got 3 UK offices and also offices in the USA and the Middle East. We have been Microsoft Partner of the Year for many years now. I think it's sort of 5 of the last six years. So we're very credible in the dynamic space. Myself and Paul actually work for the BI practice. Paul, if you just pop the next screen, please. Great. So we're very proud that we won the Dynamics Reseller of the Year again this year, 2015, and we've got the broad brush of services within eBECS. AX you may well know us for. We've also got a NAV practice and a strong CRM practice, and very much a BI practice, which is where myself and Paul sit. And the focus of today is to really show you what we've built in terms of being able to make better sense of the data within AX and to really speed up the process of getting some pretty useful models in place, so you can build some value to your very important locked up data within the ERP solution. So Paul, if you can pop the next slide up, please. Great stuff. So I think I'm gonna hand over to Paul at this point, so he can take you through. So it's really going to be a lot of demonstration, and Paul's going to explain to you the solution that we put together, and hopefully it'll be of interest. So any questions, just pop them up as we go along.
Okay, thanks very much, Nigel. Hi everybody. So here's our agenda for the next 25 minutes or so. Really, we'll be covering off connecting Power BI to AX, and we'll be showing you a tool that we've created in-house at eBECS, which we're calling the eBECS Data Modeler. Now, at that point, obviously, of the session, we're much more focused on Dynamics AX. From that point on, once we've got that data management piece in place, I'll explain how we can connect to CRM in a very similar way. We'll take a look at creating a Power BI report. That's both the modeling and the report building, and that's in Power BI version 2.0. We've had 2.0 for about 7 or 8 weeks now, so for those of you that might have looked at Power BI in the past, this might be something that's new. We'll then use that Power BI report online. We'll take a look at dashboards, and we'll have a look at Q&A functionality, and then we'll take a look at another piece of IP that we've created in-house at eBECS, and that's our rapid return business intelligence accelerator. So I'm really excited to show you this content today. This is the first time that we've demonstrated this technology and this content publicly, so you guys are getting the first view of the solution. So let's just have a very quick chat about what the eBECS Data Modeler actually is. All right, why did we create it? So we have obviously had a BI practice at eBECS for quite some time now. What we see is when customers try to take ownership of creating BI content themselves, they can come across some challenges. So the EDM tool is designed to simplify the creation of BI for Dynamics. So although I'm going to show you this on top of Dynamics AX and being consumed through Power BI, the content, the models that we generate inside Dynamics could be used with any BI tool. So if you had a preference or already have some licenses for Power BI's competitors, then this is something that you could still use. We wanted to create some out-of-the-box content. I think that's really important. You know, the content is the thing that we're going to get the most value out of. Taking the tool, creating the content, and then having that content available for you to extend yourself in a nice, simple and easy way was one of the main objectives of the product. Bridging the classical BI and Dynamics worlds, you know, we have a lot of customers who may be new to Dynamics but already have an incumbent business intelligence team. We wanted to try and bridge those worlds because they can be quite different. The way that a BI developer thinks about building new content and the way that that's done in Dynamics are quite different. So the EDM tool is designed to bridge that gap. And really importantly, we're there to fix the gaps in the Dynamics toolset and not replace it. There are quite a lot of tools and offerings out there on the market that completely do away with what comes from the Microsoft stack. We wanted to complement those and fix the gaps, not completely replace it. So where are the gaps? Well, Dynamics-based BI can be complex to build and consume, so that's something we wanted to speed up. We wanted to extend the standard out of the box offering, which can be time consuming. So for anyone that's tried to use some of the wizards inside of Dynamics, they'll very quickly come around the limitations of that toolset. And that toolset really isn't designed to work with some of the more modern BI-based technologies. Classical BI developers might struggle a little with confusing concepts that AX has, where we've got terminologies that are used for different purposes inside of AX. We've also got a big steep learning curve in terms of the Dynamics AX schema. Again, something that we wanted to try and address. And also, a challenge for us and our customers is the release cycle, the length of time between an AX, a new Dynamics AX release, is much longer than that of the BI toolsets themselves, which are actually releasing, added features every 3 months. That's certainly true of Power BI. We want to make sure that you've got access to the latest and greatest technologies as soon as possible. Okay. So I think the best way to see this is to see it. So let's jump across into demo. So the EDM tool itself is a web-based application. So you can literally log into a workspace, connect up to the EDM application, which will then run on your local machine. So I'm just logging in here just to show you the process. You'll see the EDM tool fire up, and here I go with a new workspace. Once I've done that, I'm going to create a new specification. So I'm just going to give this a title. I'm going to pick a customer for eBECS internally. I'm going to set a description. And I'm just going to put the same overview in there. Obviously, you might want to spend a little more time filling that out. Based on the customer that I've picked, I'm going to pick up the AX templates. This is really important because we're reading the AX database, and as part of the onboarding process of this toolset, we take a copy of your AX schema and load it up into the tool. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to take any data from your on-premise solution or any custom code away from your on-premise solution. What we're doing is just taking the metadata so that we understand any of the new tables and customizations that you may have had in your Dynamics AX system. Next, I get to choose a prefix. This is just best practice stuff for when we're creating new content for AX, which will become apparent soon. And I'm going to put this under a specific project code. So again, you could create multiple specifications, you could have multiple projects and those kind of things. So this is really setting up my header information. Once I've done that, I'm going to create a new diagram. I'm going to imaginatively call it diagram 1, I'm going to give it a description of diagram 1, 2. And it's a BI diagram type. So here I go, I've got my new diagram workspace. Now, it's important to note what we're actually going to be building here. So I said that the tool is going to generate something that is usable by any BI technology. And if we think about getting data out of Dynamics, there are a number of challenges in doing that. Understanding the source schema, making sense of the relationships which are inside Dynamics, and also decoding things like enums. So what we've done in the modeler tool is create an application which is effectively creating views that can be consumed directly from the AX SQL database for whatever purpose we want to use them for, but it's going to take care of relationships for us, it's going to do our decodes for us, it's going to allow us to rename and renumber things to make it really easy for any front-end BI technology to consume. So I'm going to create a new view. I just right-click, I do new view, and I get a new view box. If I open that, I'm going to define the properties of my new view. So I'm going to call this company dim. So in BI, we call tables which have descriptive information dimensions. So that's where the dim comes from. You can see that I'm going to pick a table from AX that's a view. I'm going to set this type to dimension, so the EDM modeling tool understands what to do with it. And I'm going to go ahead and select a table from AX. So this is listed all the views that are available in AX. I can simply search for them. I'm going to pick this BI company view here. Obviously I could search on any number of terms, but this is the one that I want. So I want my company dimension, my list of company information. So at the moment what's happening is it's brought back the different columns that are available inside that table, and here it's brought the decodes, the descriptions from the labels. Now if we had a bit more time, I would go through and rename these. So I'd call this company number, this one already has company name. I could hide the ones that I didn't want to see, but for now we're just going to accept that as it is. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add 2 more dimensions or descriptive tables. So I'm going to add the customer dimension, and I happen to know, I don't have to search for this. If I know which table or view it's coming from, I can simply type it in. See, we've got exactly the same thing happen here. It's brought the columns through. I'm going to do just one more over here, and this one's going to be product information. So our product dimension. And again, just for speed's sake, rather than looking this up, I'm going to type in the table that I know I need. Now, it's probably important to note that for those on the call that are used to BI technologies, you'll understand what dimensions and, in this case, fact tables are. So dimensions are our descriptions, fact tables contain our values. So this is where we're starting to bridge the two worlds. So this time I am telling this sales line table that it's going to contain factual information, i.e. the transactions that I want to do something with, and I set that up as a table type. Again, I could search for the views or tables, but I'm just going to type that in. Now, one of the big challenges that you'll see with tools like Power BI or some of the BI tech is they don't understand the relationships between the tables in the AX database. Of course, our tool absolutely does. And if we look here, we can see the different tables, including our customer table and how that joins, embedded in the application. So we don't have to worry about that. Now, why that's important is when I say OK, it's going to analyze the tables that I've got in my solution, and it's going to join them together for me. not only is it going to join them together from a relationship point of view, but it's also going to create keys in each of the views. So I've then got the ability to do a very simple join between this created key in my dimension table, i.e. my descriptive table, and also the same keys in my fact table. We can see that the system's created the keys for us. Okay, so let me just shrink those down a bit, make that a bit easier for us to see. So what's happened is it's picked up the relationships between the tables that we've defined that we want into the solution. It's created a simple join, a one column to one column join between all of those tables. That's really important because things like Power BI can only join on one column at a time, and out of the box AX joins on multiple columns. So that can make it very difficult to achieve without a tool like this. Once I've finished and I'm happy with my project, I'm going to generate a project, and that's going to create an XPO. Now we've got the logging turned on here just so that we can see what the system's actually created. So this is actual AX code that's been generated for us. Now, not only has it gone and picked up the columns, but we can see here this code is taking enums and converting them into real values. So what do I mean? Effectively, AX is littered with a number of fields which look up the values from inside the application. That means if we pointed a BI tool at the table, it would just see value 1 is open, for example, or 2 is closed, for example. And we'd have to manually configure that and code that out to make sure the BI tech knew about it. What we've done in Modeler is take any enums and convert them into real value. So in the view that we inevitably connect to in the end, we see open and closed rather than the codes themselves. So again, that saves you a huge amount of time in development. We have a portal screen available where we can download the XPOs. So if we've created some code, if we've created that model, we can go into here and we can download the XPO, give it to one of our development team to upload into the Dynamics AX system. Once we've loaded it into AX, we can see here it's coming through as a project. What we can see is that we've got a series of tables prefixed. Remember, we said that the views would be prefixed. We've got those prefixed with EBI. So here are the ones that we demonstrated before. Just to speed this up, I'd already uploaded these. I've got the company dim that I created, the customer dimension here. I've also got the product dimension and my sales fact just here. So all of that information has been loaded through and is now easy for us to get hold of. Power BI, if we open up Power BI now, so all of our work inside of AX is done. We've taken care of relationships, we've made it easy for BI applications to join the tools together, we've made it easy for BI tools to get hold of that data. We're going to fire up Power BI, and we're going to connect it simply to our SQL Server database. I'm just going to put in local machine, and you can see that it's going to look on my local machine and it's going to find the databases which are available. So just down here we can see that we've got our Microsoft Dynamics AX database. Now that database has a large number of tables, so I've taken the liberty of pre-caching that for us. You can see if I go back to the top, I've filtered it for just the EBI ones. There's over 7,600 tables and views available inside Dynamics AX, so we've simplified that process for you just here. So what I'm going to do is pick the ones that we've demonstrated so far. So our company, our customer, our product, and our sales lines. Notice that as I'm picking these tables, I'm getting a preview of the data that's available inside them. Now clearly I could go on and we could spend a good half a day fully explaining what's possible in Power BI. We wanted to give you a good flavour here, so I'm just going to hit the load button to load this back through. It's going to connect to those views that are now available to it, and it's going to bring back the data that's available inside those views and bring them into the Power BI model. So we're just going to give that a few seconds to complete. You can see it's doing the row count, and you can also see that it's detecting relationships. Now, out of the box, you would not have had any success in picking out those relationships, but because of the way that Modeler has structured the data, we are getting good results and building out that model. If we look at the reporting page, you can see that we have the fields available. We can simply go in here and we can start to select values. Now, I didn't do anything to restrict or modify the data, but you can see I'm already able to start to pick information. Okay, so that's a good sort of introduction to the modeler, what it's doing. It's enabling us to very easily create views that can be used inside Power BI. We've seen how to bring and connect to some data inside of Power BI, obviously quite a simple example in this case, but you can see that the relationships are being picked up. We've talked about the enums being decoded, two things which are really quite difficult to do without a tool like Modeler. Now, of course, we didn't want to just give you access to a tool without any content, so we talked about out-of-the-box content. So this is what we call our rapid return business intelligence accelerators. You know, why did we create those accelerators? Well, we wanted out-of-the-box content for Power BI. They're fully customizable, so we see these as a great starter for 10 for you guys. I'm sure there'll be examples where you'd want to build those out, and hopefully you can see that with a tool like Modeler and then with Power BI itself, it's very easy to extend the standard content into new areas. We wanted to, quite frankly, reduce the amount of time it took to implement BI for a Dynamics customer and give you that quick start capability. So let's have a look at our rapid return accelerators. What do they look like? Well, very simply, if I, instead of using this one here, open one of our accelerator dashboards, this is an example of our CEO's dashboard, and I'll just show you what we made possible. Now, all of this has been done with Modeler and Power BI out of the box. There's no requirement for any other software or anything like that, so we'll just give this a few seconds for the Modeler for Power BI to open. You can see that the high quality visualizations that you're getting here. You can also see that we spent a little more time tidying up the data set, picking only the values that we needed, making sure that the naming conventions were business focused rather than just taking the types of values that come with the system out of the box. So that's really easy to work with. We can interact with the report, so if I click on wholesale customers here, then the rest of the charts on the page will change in line. We've got multiple pages here for year-on-year comparisons, and then we've got some expense analysis over here. So hopefully you can see we've done a lot of work to tidy up the models, make that available, and all of that's been done with EDM as a back-end source, and then our work in creating these models. Again, hopefully you can see these are all coming from those EBI, those models in Modeler, and we can extend these tables out as needed. Once we've finished with our content, we just simply hit the publish button, which will send it up to Power BI. Now, I've already done this, so I don't intend to do it again. So let's pop over to Power BI Online. Again, you can see that we're straight into the same type of look and feel. In fact, actually, the way that Power BI works, and if we take a look here at the content that's on the screen, we start with a report, once we go to a report, and I'm going to go over to the expense analysis page here, I'm going to pin this expense analysis gauge onto my dashboard. Once I do that, we can see pin to dashboard, go over to CEO, and we'll see down the bottom, here's my expense analysis. So dashboards, therefore, in Power BI are a level above reports, and of course I can then move those around. The great thing, and unfortunately I can't show you during this webinar, is that these dashboards are available on mobile apps right out of the box. So we've got Windows Phone, iOS and Android, all supported native apps right out of the box that you can use. Some other functionality that's available, if we take a look at the finance dashboard here, is that we can use this feature called Q&A. So if I'm looking for gross margin percentage, and if it's not already in my dashboard, I can simply type gross margin percentage into Q&A, and it will return the value for me. So hopefully you can see that there was a bit of a delay there on the screen refresh, I think, but I've got gross margin percentage without actually writing a report at all. Now I find that really exciting. This is really new technology. Imagine having Google type capability inside the business for analyzing your data, and we've enabled that right out of the box. So that was a key aspiration of this piece of IP for us. And of course I can go further. I don't just have to do gross margin percentage. I can ask for it by year. And if I don't like it as a bar chart, I can say as a pie chart. And the system automatically does that for me. Once I've created that, I can pin it back to my dashboard. So I've literally written an element for my dashboard in Power BI without actually doing any code whatsoever. And you can see some of the IP that we've got here. I haven't actually loaded all of the dashboards. We've got 9 out of the box, but we've seen the CEO, we've got finance content, we've got HR content, marketing content, projects, sales, and supply chain. So hopefully that's given you a good flavour for what we've managed to achieve. Hopefully you found that interesting. Nigel, I'm going to hand that back over to you now, if that's okay.
Great stuff, Paul. Yeah, if you could just pop up. Brilliant. So thanks very much, Paul, for an excellent and concise demonstration of the EDM solution and Power BI too, so everyone can see how effective it is when you put those two things in harness. You get the power of EDM for the modelling and Power BI for the great visualizations. So just a few things. If anyone's got any questions, if you just want to pop them up while we're just wrapping up. For you guys who are eBECS customers, if the solution is of interest and you're looking to explore a bit further, could you either contact your account manager who looks after you, or Paul or myself, if you want to do that. Either route. For you guys who aren't eBECS customers, then please contact myself and Paul, and we can pick anything up with you. So we're happy to come and visit you specifically and discuss your particular requirements in more detail and see how that could potentially fit with the EDM solution plus Power BI. Or happy to set up another call, so more focused around everyone's particular needs, because everyone's unique, so we appreciate that. We also have an early adopter program running over the next 3 months, so we're looking to get people up and working with this. We're already using it ourselves on our projects, which has proven to be pretty effective, and certainly speeds up the process of what can be quite complex AX data. So we're looking for an early adopter program and talk to you commercially about that as well. It is very much a software as a service model, so it's a kind of it'll be priced per month based on your enterprise. We also have further webcasts running over the next few weeks, so this is the first, as Paul said, so we've got a few more lined up. We're pretty much running them most weeks for the next month or so, and we'll continue running those up until Christmas. So for any of you or your colleagues that could not attend today, then we've got some more webcasts running, and there's a program on our website to explain when they are. We'll also be popping some recordings up over the next few weeks as well of these, so you can share those with your colleagues who perhaps couldn't make it today. So I'm just having a look, Paul, if there's any questions. I can't see. Or can you see?
Yeah, I think we've got one there in terms of what in a BI sense we would call denormalization. So the answer is yes. We had obviously a very limited amount of time to show that just then, but yes, we can take data from different tables and bring them all into a single table. So the customer dimension is a very good example of where we might get something from one table, we might get address information from another table, we might get contact information from another table. So yes, we can absolutely do that denormalization piece inside the modeler toolset.